Marcus Johnson, a Black American living in Shanghai, had a transformative encounter with a young Chinese girl that challenged his preconceptions and taught him about cultural understanding. Initially intrigued by her radiant smile, Marcus struck up a conversation with her, only to be taken aback when she asked him a personal and inappropriate question about stereotypes regarding black men's anatomy. What has happened? Let's find out in today's story. Before we get into the main content of the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. Feel free to leave your comments with feedback on the content and any topics you're interested in. Your support means a lot to us. Have a great day. My name is Marcus Johnson. As a Black American man living in Shanghai, I was used to the cultural differences and nuances that came with living in a foreign country. But one particular encounter with a Chinese girl left a lasting impact on me and taught me a valuable lesson about cultural understanding and respect. I had just finished my shift at work. Exhausted from the long day, I decided to take a walk around the city to unwind before heading home. And that's when I saw her, a young Chinese girl, no older than 20, sitting on a bench near the park. She caught my attention with her radiant smile and youthful energy. I couldn't resist the temptation to strike up a conversation with her. As I approached her, she gave me a curious look, and I could tell she was wondering what a Black American was doing in China. "Hello?" I greeted her in Chinese, and her eyes widened in surprise. "Hello? How are you?" she replied, her face lighting up with excitement. We continued talking, and she asked me all sorts of questions about my life in America and my experience living in China. I found myself enjoying her company, and before I knew it, we had been talking for hours, completely losing track of time. As we were saying our goodbyes, she suddenly turned to me with a mischievous glint in her eye and asked, "Do you have a big D***CK?" I was taken aback and didn't know how to respond. She must have noticed the confusion on my face and quickly clarified, "I heard that all Black Americans have big D***CKs, is it true?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Not only was she asking me a personal and inappropriate question, but she was also speaking so casually about it. Growing up in America, I was used to people being more discreet and respectful when discussing matters of sexuality. But here was this young Chinese girl asking me if I had a big D***CK in broad daylight, with no shame or hesitation. I was offended and didn't know how to react. I took a deep breath and decided to respond in a calm and respectful manner. Just like how not all Chinese girls are petite and submissive, not all Black Americans have big D***CKs. It's a harmful stereotype, and it's important not to generalize people based on their race or ethnicity. To my surprise, she listened intently. "Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. It's just something I've always heard, and I was curious," she blurted out. Appreciating her apology, I offered a reassuring smile. "Thank you for apologizing, but it's important to remember that words can carry more weight than we realize, especially when they reinforce harmful stereotypes. Let's try to be more mindful of that in the future, all right?" This encounter with the Chinese girl left me ruminating on the multitude of experiences I'd encountered living in China as a Black American. It was a kaleidoscope of moments, each etched with its own distinct blend of stereotypes and discrimination. I remember one incident in particular that left a bitter taste in my mouth. I was out for a walk in the city, taking in the sights and sounds, when I saw a group of young students walking towards me. As they got closer, one of them screamed, "LeBron James," and they all burst into laughter. I couldn't help but feel hurt and angry. It was as if they thought it was impossible for a Black man to just be a regular person, without being compared to a famous athlete. But I wasn't LeBron James. My name is Marcus Johnson, and I'm just an ordinary guy trying to make my way in the world. I was born and raised in a small town in Ohio, just like LeBron, but that's where the similarities end. I wasn't blessed with his athletic talent, nor did I have any aspirations of being a rapper. I was just a young man with big dreams and a determination to succeed. Growing up, I was always a bit of an outsider. I didn't fit into the typical stereotypes that people had of Black men. I wasn't into sports, I wasn't loud or aggressive, and I didn't have a lot of friends. Instead, I was quiet and introverted, with a love for books, and a passion for writing. I would spend hours lost in my own thoughts, crafting stories and poems that no one else would ever read. After high school, I decided to pursue a degree in creative writing. College was an eye-opening experience for me, but even in college, I still faced the occasional judgment and stereotypes. I remember one incident where a group of my classmates assumed that I was only in college because I was a star basketball player. They couldn't believe that someone who looked like me could be interested in writing. It was frustrating and disheartening. But it wasn't just about the stereotypes. There were times when I felt excluded and discriminated against because of the color of my skin. I recalled the time when I went to a fancy restaurant in the city. As we were seated, I could feel the tension in the air. I didn't think much of it at first, but as I looked around, I noticed that I was the only black person in the entire restaurant. It felt like all eyes were on me, and I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. When it was time to order, the waiter looked at our table and said, "I'm sorry, but we are fully booked for the night." I was confused because I could see plenty of empty seats around us. I tried to reason with the waiter, but he remained stubborn. It was as though he didn't want me there. The hurt and anger I felt were indescribable. It was the first time I had experienced such blatant discrimination, and it stung even more in a foreign country. I decided to leave, and as I was walking out of the restaurant, I couldn't help but glance back at the other customers. They were all white, and some even had empty plates in front of them. I realized that I was not welcome there because of the color of our skin. It was a harsh reality to face at such a young age. It was a feeling that I had experienced back in the States, but it stung even more in a foreign country. Reflecting on my own experiences of facing stereotypes and discrimination as a Black American in China, I couldn't help but ponder the flip side of the coin, the stereotypes I might have held about Chinese people. My first few months in China were a culture shock, to say the least. I was bombarded with sights, sounds, and smells that were unfamiliar to me. The streets were always crowded with people, bikes and cars, making it difficult to navigate. I quickly learned to be more aware of my surroundings and adapt to the fast-paced lifestyle. My work environment was no different. I was the only Black American person in my team, which made me stand out even more. My coworkers were welcoming and friendly, but I couldn't shake off the feeling of being an outsider. They would always talk to me about American culture and ask me questions about my life back home. I found it strange that they were so interested in me, a person from a country they were taught to fear. As I settled into my new job and life in China, I began to notice subtle forms of discrimination. Whenever I would go out to eat with my colleagues, the restaurant staff would always assume I couldn't handle spicy food and give me a more mild dish, even though I'm familiar with places where spice is a staple in every meal. I also noticed that people would avoid sitting next to me on the subway or bus, and I could feel their eyes following me as I walked down the street. But then I recalled instances where Chinese friends had gone out of their way to welcome me into their homes, sharing their culture and traditions with me in a spirit of genuine curiosity and friendship. From inviting me to celebrate Chinese New Year with their families to patiently teaching me the intricacies of Chinese cuisine, these were the moments that challenged my assumptions and opened my eyes to the richness of Chinese culture. When I joined a local basketball team and started taking Mandarin lessons, I met some amazing people who challenged my stereotypes and showed me a different side of China. I realized that my own biases were clouding my judgment. I had failed to recognize the diversity and complexity of Chinese society, instead choosing to lump everyone into the same category based on my own preconceptions. Over the next few months, I embarked on a journey of discovery, eager to learn about their rich cultural heritage and traditions. I sought out opportunities to participate in local events, festivals, and gatherings, embracing the vibrant tapestry of Chinese customs and practices. From attending traditional tea ceremonies to exploring the intricacies of calligraphy, each experience offered a glimpse into the depth and diversity of Chinese culture. Language became a bridge that connected me more intimately with the people around me. I devoted myself to studying Mandarin, eagerly absorbing new words and phrases with each lesson. Through language exchange programs and casual conversations with locals, I not only honed my linguistic skills, but also forged genuine connections with individuals from all walks of life. Whether exchanging pleasantries with a street vendor or delving into deeper discussions with newfound friends, Language became a conduit for understanding and empathy. As I shared my own experiences and perspectives, I found that my authenticity resonated with others. I spoke openly about the challenges and triumphs of navigating life as a Black American in China, offering insights into my cultural background and identity. Through storytelling and dialogue, I sought to break down barriers and dispel misconceptions, fostering a sense of mutual respect and solidarity. Gradually, I began to notice a shift in the way people perceived me. Instead of viewing me through the lens of stereotypes or preconceived notions, they approached me with curiosity and openness. Conversations that once felt stilted or superficial now flowed with ease and authenticity, enriched by our shared experiences and mutual respect. The transformation was palpable, both in the attitudes of those around me and in my own sense of belonging. No longer did I feel like an outsider looking in, but rather an integral part of the community, valued for my unique perspective and contributions. It was a testament to the power of connection and understanding, transcending cultural divides and fostering genuine human connection. And as for the Chinese girl who had asked me the question, it turned out that she was a student at the nearby university majoring in international relations. She became a dear friend of mine, and we often had discussions about cultural differences, providing insights into the contrasting ways Black people are perceived and treated in the United States versus China. In the United States, the history of slavery and systemic racism has profoundly shaped the treatment of Black people. From the days of chattel slavery to the era of Jim Crow segregation and the civil rights movement, African Americans have long fought for equality and justice. Despite legal advancements, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, systemic inequalities persist, manifesting in areas such as education, employment, healthcare, and the criminal justice system. The perception of Black people in the United States is multifaceted and often influenced by stereotypes perpetuated in media and popular culture. While there are diverse representations of Black individuals across various fields, including politics, entertainment, and sports, negative stereotypes persist, contributing to racial bias and discrimination. Instances of police brutality, racial profiling, and systemic injustice have sparked protests and social movements like Black Lives Matter, drawing attention to the ongoing struggle for racial equality. In contrast, the treatment and perception of Black people in China are shaped by different historical and cultural factors. Historically, China has had limited contact with African populations compared to the transatlantic slave trade that shaped the Americas. However, with increased globalization and economic ties, China has seen a growing presence of African immigrants, students, and traders in recent decades. Despite China's official stance of non-discrimination and promotion of unity among ethnic groups, reports of discrimination and mistreatment of Black individuals have emerged. African immigrants in China have reported experiences of racial profiling, harassment, and unequal treatment by law enforcement and society at large. Negative stereotypes perpetuated in media and popular culture further contribute to prejudice and xenophobia towards Black people. The perception of Black people in China is often influenced by limited exposure and understanding, leading to stereotypes and misconceptions. Black individuals may be exoticized or fetishized, viewed through a lens of curiosity or novelty rather than genuine understanding or acceptance. Cultural differences and language barriers can also contribute to misunderstandings and miscommunication, exacerbating tensions and prejudice. Moreover, China's emphasis on ethnic unity and homogeneity may contribute to challenges faced by Black individuals in integrating into Chinese society. While there are examples of cross-cultural exchange and friendship between Black people and Chinese individuals, social acceptance and inclusion can vary depending on factors such as location, socioeconomic status, and personal experiences. Looking back, I'm grateful for that encounter with the Chinese girl. It taught me the importance of cultural understanding and respect, and how truly getting to know someone and their culture can break down barriers and stereotypes. Living in a foreign country can be challenging, but it also offers unique opportunities for growth and understanding. And as a Black American man living in China, I'm glad that I took that walk in the park and had that unexpected conversation. It not only taught me a valuable lesson, but also gave me a dear friend for life.